mind that, but borders it with birch and alder, just as if it was an ordinary freshwater lake. Then still another wave comes driving in. Nor does the hillside bother itself about clinging to this, but it, too, gets the same covering as the first one. Then the fjords begin to broaden and separate. They break up fields and woods, and then the hillside cannot help but notice them. "I believe it is the sea itself that is coming," says the hillside. And then it begins to adorn itself. It wreathes itself with blossoms, travels up and down in hills, and throws islands into the sea. It no longer cares about pines and spruces, but casts them off like old everyday clothes, and parades later with big oaks and lindens and chestnuts, and with blossoming, leafy bowers, and becomes as gorgeous as a manor park. And when it meets the sea, it is so changed that it doesn't know itself. All this one cannot see very well until summertime. But at any rate, the boy observed how mild and friendly nature was, and he began to feel calmer than he had been before that night. Then suddenly he heard a sharp and ugly yowl from the bathhouse park, and when he stood up he saw, in the white moonlight, a fox standing on the pavement under the balcony. For Smirre had followed the wild geese once more, but when he had found the place where they had quartered, he had understood that it was impossible to get at them in any way. Then he had not been able to keep from yowling with chagrin. When the fox yowled in this manner, old Akka, the leader goose, was awakened. Although she could see nothing, she thought she recognized the voice. "Is it you who are out to night, Smirre?" said she. "Yes," said Smirre, "it is I, and I want to ask what you geese think of the night that I have given you." "Do you mean that to say that it is you who have sent the marten and otter against us?" asked Akka. "A good turn shouldn't be denied," said Smirre. "You once played the goose game with me. Now I have begun to play the fox game with you, and I'm not inclined to let up on it so long as a single one of you still lives, even if I have to follow you the world over." "You, Smirre, ought at least to think whether it is right for you, who are weaponed with both teeth and claws, to hound us in this way, we who are without defence," said Akka. Smirre thought that Akka sounded scared, and he said quickly: "If you, Akka, will take that Thumbietot, who has so often opposed me, and throw him down to me, I'll promise to make peace with you. Then I'll never more pursue you or any of yours." "I'm not going to give you Thumbietot," said Akka. "From the youngest of us to the oldest, we would willingly give our lives for his sake." "Since you are so fond of him," said Smirre, "I'll promise you that he shall be the first among you that I will wreak vengeance upon." Akka said no more, and after Smirre had sent up a few more yowls, all was still. The boy lay all the while awake. Now it was Akka's words to the fox that prevented him from sleeping. Never had he dreamed that he should hear anything so great as that anyone was willing to risk life for his sake. From that moment it could no longer be said of Nils Holgersson that he did not care for anyone. End of by Ronneby River, read by Lars Rolander.